Chairs No Waiting, episode number 795. Andy saves Barney's morale. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. Drop by over at Weavers, brand new stuff over there. Plus, if you're going to be doing some Mayberry traveling this year, go over and check out the Mayberry Travel Guide by Randy Turner. Did I say Turner or Turtle? Go check it out. You got that over at Weavers, the Mayberry Travel Guide. While you're there, you might want to check out the wooden home decor that they've added over there. It's really cool, nice little blocks with American flag and Mayberry and all kinds of stuff on it. Also got some Aunt Bee Haven wooden cutting boards. Go and check those out as well. Head over to WeaversDepartmentStore.com and check it out. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations just from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 795 are the attendees of the Mayberry Meetup. All right. We'll talk about that toward the end of the podcast if you'd stick around to hear it. I'm Alan Uslam, the host of Two Chairs No Waiting. I've been doing this since 2008, so there's plenty of episodes for you to go back and listen to or watch if you want to watch the video versions. And you'll certainly find something that would entertain you or at least interest you if you'd like to go back through the back catalog. It's free. You can go check it out. So I have been a fan of the Andy Griffith Show for years. I got started in college. My friend Rob Jones got me started doing this, and I got addicted. I just love not only the show, but I love the people that are associated with it. And by that, I mean the fans. The fans I've been able to meet are some of the most wonderful people I've ever met. You're probably one of them if you're listening to this podcast. Great people, great chance to be able to visit with nice, friendly people. And wow, it's just something I wouldn't trade for the world, because it has been a wonderful experience for me. So, and my wife and I run Weaver's Department Store. That's, we just went through Weaver's just a second ago talking about it. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go and buy some stuff from Weaver's. So help support it. It's a small business because, real small. It's two people small. Yeah, two people. And really it's basically one person. Jan does all the actual work. I do the website. And that's it. So you might want to go and check it out. Just earlier this year, I began, believe it or not, I just started going through the episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. Now, we've talked about that last week and previous weeks as well. And I started going through the episodes season by season. And I'm only up to what would be the 20th aired episode. It's actually the 16th episode as I'm going through it. Let me explain why if you don't know. So in the way the episodes were filmed, they were not necessarily aired on television in the same order that they were filmed. So we're actually going through these in the filmed order, mainly just because that's what I kind of have on our mayberry.info website. That's how they're ordered. There is by filmed order, but it also lists out the aired order. So the episode we're going to be talking about tonight or today when you're listening to this, is episode number 16 filmed, and it's the 20th episode aired. So they aired it as the 20th episode of the Andy Griffith Show. So it'd be season 1, episode 20 is the way you would probably hear that referred to. The episode was aired originally on February the 20th, 1961. So this is the first season of the Andy Griffith Show, episode on the 20th of February, 1951. The writer was David Adler, and the director was Bob Sweeney. So that is the big information there. Let me get a little background music for us so you guys will maybe enjoy yourself better. Let's do this one. There we go. Just a little bit of background music. So Andy saves Barney's morale. You'll remember what happened. Do you remember that? Basically, Andy's called out of town, and Barney gets his first chance to be acting sheriff. Acting sheriff. Now, remember, he's been in the force for a while now, 5 years nearly, heading in that direction, depending on what episode we watch. Anyway, he's getting his first chance to be acting sheriff of Mayberry. And while he's at it, he puts, 19 citizens, and I guess Opie's a citizen. So with Opie, it counts as 20 citizens of Mayberry, including the bank president and the mayor, and as I said, Aunt B and Opie. When Andy returns, the streets are so quiet and Barney's outside just so happy. Anyway, this is what happens in this episode. Barney is also very discouraged and he threatens to quit. So basically, that's the premise of the episode. So we'll go into it a little bit more detail as we go here. So the episode starts off. It starts off with, like I said, Barney's big chance. Here he is. Andy's going to go out of town. He's packing his bags, getting ready to go out of town. And Barney is given his opportunity to be sheriff because he's going to be gone for really just a few hours. Andy's not going to be gone like long. This is not a long time. He's going to be gone for a few hours. And Barney is excited to just that small amount of time. So you got to figure Andy's never gone out of town. He's never been out of town at all. Don't think about that too much because that doesn't, I guess that makes the episode not as good. But he's going to be out and he's leaving Barney in charge. And Andy is pretty reluctant to leave him there in charge of everything. But Barney is assuring him he knows, oh yeah, I can, Andy, I can do this. This is not a problem. So Andy's getting dressed. He goes, I know you can do it. That's right. You can trust him as acting sheriff. And order will be there when Andy gets back. The whole town will be in order, no doubt. So Andy leaves and Barney sits down at the desk and you see him, doing Barney stuff, where he's looking. Of course, when he sits down at the desk, it's the desk chair is made for Andy. So Barney looked really short, if you remember, when he sat down. Anyway, when Andy comes back, Barney is standing outside the courthouse, sniffing the air as Barney always does. And Andy comes back. The streets are clear. Everything looks absolutely amazing. Andy's happy. He's returned from the trip and there's been no problems whatsoever. But remember, hours later. This is not days later. Hours later, when Andy returns to town. Oh man! So he basically congratulates Barney. He tells him, "Thank you, Barney. You did a good job." Blah blah blah, all that. And then Andy walks through the courthouse doors and finds basically half the town in jail. They're all in the jail cells. They're full. The jail cells are just full of people. When Andy enters the 8 hours, he was gone for 8 hours and the jail cells are completely full of people from Mayberry. And Andy's mouth is just open. He cannot believe what he sees. But, he didn't swear Barney in as justice of the peace. So Barney wasn't able to process all these people as he would arrest them. He couldn't do anything about it. So all he could do was arrest them and put them in the jail because he wasn't given the authority of justice of the peace, which was true. And Andy knew it. Yeah, that's true. So he put them all in there. And as I said, he stuffed them into there, including the bank president and the mayor. Mayor Pike was in there in those 2 cells. And, of course, even Opie and Aunt B were in there as well. So Andy gets to work as he lets them all out. You see all the people coming out of the doors. And you get to see some of the people of Mayberry. And I will mention some of them later. Of course, you see the mayor. You see you see the bank president. that's coming out. And one lady that you see is somebody that we've called for years Nice Dress Nellie. Now, we'll talk about that later, so keep that in mind. Nice Dress Nellie is the name we called her because that's what they had said to her in one of the episodes. Nice dress, Nellie. That's nice. That's a nice dress. And turns out we finally found out who she was. We'll get to that in the odd facts known by few. So basically, Andy lets them out, and they all start going through all the charges. I should say also Opie and Aunt B are released, including Chester and Judd and everybody else. So Andy begins to go through the process as Justice of the Peace of going through the cases. So the first case that comes up, if I remember right, is of Judd. So Judd is the first case that comes up, and he was arrested for disturbing the peace. Judd's 70. He's going on 74, I believe is what he says in this episode. Burt Mustin played Judd. He was actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 77 at this time, but he says 74, I believe, during the episode. I could be wrong, so don't go gospel on that, but I'm pretty sure that is the right information. So basically, every one of the people gets off on a technicality. Of course, Judd said, Chester Jones, you're a low-down dirty cheat, a rotten cheat, or whatever he says. So he's disturbing the peace, playing checkers and knocking checkerboards over. Aunt B and Opie are also convicted. So basically, Andy goes through every person down to the part where they're all gone. Nobody is left. They're all gone, including Otis. Otis, who had been arrested, he had been arrested for being drunk, but he couldn't tell or not if he was drunk or not because he didn't have his glasses. So he didn't know if he was drunk. And by the time he gets out of the jail, he is not drunk. And so basically they have to let him go. So Andy's trying to keep Barney, his spirits high because this is bad. And that's bad. So then the next day, everything starts going along. The next few days, Barney basically finds out he's become the laughing stock of Mayberry because everybody in town is making fun of him. He heads over to the barber shop. They come in, make fun of him over there about him getting all the desperate criminals. I mean, the mayor's involved in this, Floyd, all the guys. Chester comes in, says there's been a hit and run. Barney's like, what? There's a hit and run? What? Where's it happen? Down to the baseball field. So they're all making fun of Barney to the point where Barney is just not useful and he's losing all of his confidence. And it takes a toll on his pride. And it's just, it's down to the point at some point there where he's just decided he's going to have to quit. He's going to have to quit the deputy sheriffing job. He just can't do it. So he comes in another day and he looks like he's been up for a week when he comes in. And according to reports on IMDb, I do not know if this is true, Don Knotts actually stayed up, according to the report. I do not know this to be true. I got to check into this. But the report there was that he stayed up and let his beard grow out a bit to film this. Now, I have a hard time believing that. So if you've ever heard that report, I believe it's incorrect because that would have taken time to have done. They don't take a couple of days off so Don can grow a stubble. So I just don't know that actually happened. But that was the reports that they're given. But basically, Barney comes in. He looks all disheveled. His tie's not tied. He hasn't shaved. He's just completely lost everything. So they all keep picking on him. And after talking, Andy eventually tries to come up with a way to lift his spirits. So he gets with Hilda May, Barney's girlfriend, and talks to her about, hey, can you help lift Barney's spirits? And she says, I tried. I sat down with him and I told him how, she started talking about how everything about him, trying to lift his spirits. But then at some point while she's doing it, she mussed up his hair. And after she had mussed up his hair, she started to laugh at him. And that just was the last straw. All of his confidence was gone. And It was just too bad. Barney just didn't have any confidence left. And so basically, Andy got the idea that he would start going around town telling everybody he's going to have to get rid of Barney because he's the laughing stock, and you can't have a deputy that everybody laughs at all the time. He can't do that, so he's going to have to let Barney go. And even Aunt Bee, he tells her that. He tells everybody that. And Barney decides he's quitting, so he starts turning in all of his stuff. As he turns it in, Aunt Bee's the first one and comes in and arrests herself. She comes in there and arrests herself as a citizen's arrest, a self-arrest, and they scold Andy. So it's first, I believe, Aunt Bee and the mayor and all the people that had been arrested started coming in and basically arrest themselves and showing that Barney did have a right to arrest him. Otis came in, snookered. And they all lock themselves up in the jail, and Barney starts to feel, important, and that he had done the right thing to begin with. And so, of course, that's how the episode goes. And Barney is just so confident about himself at that point, that he's ready to take on the world, and he doesn't quit. And it's down to the point where he starts making Andy feel bad at the epilogue, and Andy actually goes and arrests himself for not having listened to Barney and letting all those people go. So there you go. So that is the episode and how it went. So that's the rest of the story. All right, so let me give you some odd facts known by few now about this stuff. So Andy mentions that half the town is in jail, but Mayberry's population is somewhere between 1,800 and 2,000 during that time. So obviously not half the town. He was being dramatic. But there were, according to the reports, there were 19 citizens incarcerated. And of course, Opie, if you count him, he would have made 20. But he was only in there because Aunt Bee couldn't let him just run around by himself, right? So 19 people were arrested. So there's your little trivia. It's either going to be 19 or 20. You could probably argue either one of those. Let's say on a variety of charges, Barney arrested some of the following. He arrested Harry, Miss Mary, Judd Fletcher, Mayor Pike, Tom, Miss Johnson, Franklin, Charlie, Nellie, that's Nice Dress Nellie, by the way, Aunt Bee, Chester Jones, and Otis Campbell. Did I mention Judd in there? Yeah, I did. So in this episode, Judd Fletcher stated he was 74 years old. So we already talked about Judd a minute ago. I think y'all saw him. So Judd said he was 74 years old, but he was actually, according to this, Burt Mustin was actually 77. He had just turned 77 at that point. So that was Judd. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder why didn't they just say he was 77? I mean, that would have been, I don't know why they would have said a different age, but yeah, Burt Mustin was 77 at the time when he said he was 74. Well, Burt Mustin was 77. Judd was 74. So I mentioned a second ago about Nice Dress Nellie as they were leaving the jail cells. I'm trying to find the actual image of that so the folks on our video can actually see what I'm talking about. But Nice Dress Nellie comes out of the jail cells there at the end. And she for years, Mayberry fans thought she didn't know her name, could not find out her name. And so they called her Nice Dress Nellie. This was the initial appearance of this extra, this lady, and that came to be known as Nice Dress Nellie. And she would, this was her first appearance, but she would appear in scores of episodes over the next 7 years. But would never again be named or credited. That was the only time she was ever credited. Despite scores of appearances, she would never utter a line, except perhaps in a wife for Andy, one woman said, I wonder what this is about. And it may have been her who said that, but we're just not sure. It may have been her who replied, I wish I knew. So that may have been her. But the lady's actual name was Marvell Redder Lawrence. And she was an extra, but she was a stand-in for Don Knotts. So what she did as a stand-in, when they were getting the cameras and everything arranged and set into the right place, she would stand in the spot where Don would stand later. So the camera operators and the lighting crew and everything could adjust their focus and the lighting for that position. So she was a stand-in. That's a common thing in film and television, movies. So that's what her job was, but she also got to be an extra from time to time. So she was an on-screen extra, but she was behind the scenes all the time doing Don Knotts, doing stand-in work for Don Knotts. There you go. The rest of the story. There you go. Let's see. This episode marked the first time we ever saw a flashback. And it was Barney's girlfriend, Hilda May, as she was telling the story about Barney and about him being so upset, and Andy was trying to get her to help him figure it out. Well, she went from sitting in the squad car with Andy and talking to him to the very next shot. They did a flashback where Barney was over at her house all sad. So that was the very first flashback during the Andy Griffith Show. Now, there was only one other, at least that I believe, there was only one other flashback during the series, and that was during the episode 3 Wishes for Opie. When Andy's telling the story of what happened, they do a flashback. So that's the only one. All right. And speaking of Hilda May, as I just mentioned, this was the second and the very last appearance of Barney's girlfriend, Hilda May. So there we go. All right. So thank you, Hilda May. This was the last time we saw her. Hard to believe. All right. So I don't know if this is important. For some reason, somebody put this into the notes section. But on the date that this aired, as I mentioned, it was February 20th. Let me see if I'm getting that right. Yeah, February 20th, 1961. Actor Eddie Albert celebrated his 54th birthday. Now, Eddie Albert was from Petticoat Junction. No, I'm sorry, Green Acres. He was Oliver. Anyway, I don't know why somebody put that in there, but neat little fact. All right, so they see the episode. In this episode, we see outside the Mayberry Hotel. And outside of the Mayberry Hotel, that's basically when Andy's starting to go around and tell everybody that things are, that he just can't have Barney there if he's going to be like this. Well, outside of the Mayberry Hotel, there's a sign. And you can actually see that the Mayberry Hotel serves breakfast between 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and lunch between 12:30 and 2 p.m. and dinner at 7 p.m. It's on that sign that you can see when they're playing checkers outside the hotel. So you can actually see what time they played. There's a little bit of trivia. It's very little bit, but it's something I thought you might be interested in checking out. See if you can see that. When Andy is letting everybody out of the jail at the beginning of the episode, where everybody's coming out behind him and everything, you can see behind him the maps that are on the wall behind him. One of the maps on the wall of the desk is the map of Idaho, hung upside down. And later on in the episode, the map is hung right side up. At least that's according to reports. So watch for that and see if you can catch that. So Chester Jones, we talked about him a few minutes ago. He basically appears in two places at the same time. So when Andy visits Judd and Chester, who are playing checkers outside there, he tells them and talks about he might be firing Barney. And then the next scene, Andy's over at Floyd's barbershop, and Chester Jones is there as well, but he seems surprised to hear that he's thinking he might have to fire Barney. He's in both places when he hears this story. So a little bit of trivia there for you. Let's see. So in 8 hours, as I mentioned, Barney walked or drove over. Well, he drove over 20 people to the police station. He walked them there. So in 8 hours, he would have had to arrest. I mean, how many was he arresting an hour at that point? So he was arresting people pretty quick. And he evidently also had time to give Otis a sobriety test. But anyway, so some of the violations, if you'd like to know, Judd had been arrested for a 721. It was disturbing the peace. He basically said, I hadn't had the strength to disturb the peace for nigh on 30 years. That's what he said. Aunt B was arrested for code 421 violation. That's unlawful assemblage and inciting a riot. Mayor Pike, Barney had gotten him on a 438, which is vagrancy and loitering. And of course, Otis was for intoxication. Oh, me. So this is something that I've never seen or never had heard before, but evidently in Floyd's barbershop, you can see a calendar. When he goes into Floyd's to start talking about, he's going to have to let Barney go and everything. So there's a calendar you can see somewhere in the background, even though I wasn't able to really spot it and zoom in on it or anything in this one. But here's the report. It is said, but not confirmed by me, that the calendar in Floyd's barbershop is always on the month of February with 28 days. In every episode the barbershop is shown in the series that you see the calendar, it's always in February, except in this one episode where you can see two calendars in the barbershop. And I guess it's in the early part of the episode, evidently, according to this, the way it's telling it, that it's in the early part when they were giving Barney a hard time in the barbershop, that you can actually see these calendars. So I'm going to go there and look. You can see the calendars behind them. And in those, you can see that it's got a 31-day month. So you can see the month on the calendar is 31 days. So according to this report, every other time you ever see a calendar in Floyd's barbershop, it's always on February. It's always February time frame. But in this calendar, you can see both of them have 31 days. So there you go. Yeah, the more you know. There you are. All right, so the end of the episode, at the end of the episode, when everybody comes back in and arrests themselves in jail, they're all wearing the exact same clothes they were wearing, I don't know, a day or so before when they were arrested the first time. So everybody's still wearing the same clothes, likely because they filmed it at the same time. That's probably why. So there you go. All right, so that's Odd Facts Known by Few that I hope you enjoyed. And that is a wrap-up for the episode Andy Saves Barney's Morale. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now, guys, we're going to do some trivia. We're going to do some trivia now. So this is we've been doing Paul Mulick trivia, and it's been a little bit hard for some people. So this week, we're going to take a break from Paul's and go back to our regular multiple choice and true and false type trivia. So you ready for that? Get out your pencils and piece of paper and let's play some trivia. And then after we wrap up here, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mayberry Meetup that's this week as you listen to the podcast. All right, question number 1. Are you ready? Mr. Frisbee had a rooster named Mo. True or false? Mr. Frisbee had a rooster named Mo. True or false? All right, so it's true or false, so you don't have long to answer. So here comes the answer. Mr. Frisbee had a rooster named Mo. The answer to that is false. Chat room jumped all over it and getting the answer correct. I won't tell you the answer just in case one of the other trivia questions asks that question. All right, so here we go. Question number 2. Name the actor who portrayed the character. Oh my goodness. You better not miss this one. Name the actor who played the character Ernest T. Bass. What? On this? Oh, Mrs. Weaver says I shouldn't have to give you the answer to this one, even if you're listening to this podcast. What's the name of the actor who played Ernest T. Bass? Chat room is jumping all over this. The answer is Howard Morris. Howard Morris. Some folks in the chat room are saying Howie Morris. I'll accept that as well. All right, here we go. Name the moonshiner who had a rooster named Bo. You should be able to get this one. Name a moonshiner who had a rooster named Bo. Yep, if you were paying attention, you probably got this one. Okay, that's the reason I didn't tell you the answer. Here comes the answer. Not giving you any more time. Name the moonshiner who had a rooster named Bo. It was Mr. Frisbee. Mr. Frisbee. Yeah, everybody in the chat room, everybody's feeling real good about themselves right now. So I think everybody's pretty much 3 for 3. So congratulations. If you're not, don't feel too bad, but because maybe you just couldn't think of Howard Morris. What's his name? Oh my gosh, you can't think of it. Got it. I've been there, so don't feel too bad. All right, so here I'll give you this one may be multiple choice if I need to. Okay. Who gave Aunt Bee a mustache cup? Who gave Aunt Bee a mustache cup? Okay, I'll let you give us seconds and see if you can get it. Our chat room is definitely getting it. Who gave Aunt Bee a mustache cup? All right, so I'm going to give you some options if you didn't already know the answer. Here comes the choices. Was it Opie, Goober, Clara, or Mr. Frisbee? Who gave Aunt Bee a mustache cup? The answer is Mr. Frisbee. Mr. Frisbee gave Aunt Bee a mustache cup. If I'm a lady, I'm not sure I'm going to feel too good about being given a mustache cup. Miss Weaver, what do you think of that? Yeah, I'm not sure either. You might get a rock thrown at you or maybe some cymbals played just outside your door at you if you gave a woman a mustache cup. I just don't think that's a good idea. Some of you men try that and let me know how that goes for you. Yeah, let me know. Because I'm stupid, but I don't know if I'm that. Okay, let's go. Next question, number 5. Barney took Juanita to Morelli's. True or false? Barney took Juanita to Morelli's. True or false? Oh, this is good. Wow, folks in the chat room are getting this. I wouldn't have got this. I don't think I know this one. I don't remember this. Okay, so Barney took Juanita to Morelli's. The answer is true. It is true. He took her. You know, they'll let a bottle in there. Yeah, they will. The gypsies are moody, too. I didn't remember Barney talking about taking her to Morelli's. That's pretty good. All right, next question, number 6. Who said, oh, come on. I can't read this without saying it. Okay, I'm going to have a hard time. All right, here we go. Who said, no hunt, beware, open and closed, no credit? Who said no hunt, beware, open and closed, no credit? There's a sign behind me that actually says that. Kentucky Mike, I'm pretty sure is going to get it right because he made the sign behind me. All right, guys, if you don't know who said this, I'm going to give you a hint. Who said, no hunt, beware, open, close, no credit? The answer, Ernest T. Bass. Ernest T. said that. No hunt, hunting. No, cover up this part. Hunt. Cat. Okay, so there we go. All right, number 7. We got 2 questions left. Number 7. What beverage did Andy order when he took Peggy to Raleigh? What beverage did Andy order when he took Peggy to Raleigh? I want to do my sentence. All right. What beverage did Andy order when he took Peggy to Raleigh? The answer? Draft beer. Draft beer. If you just said beer, I'll give you that too. Beer. It was beer. I can't even ask this next one. Here's the actual question. I'm not gonna. I'll have to give you another question. Let me see if I got another question around here somewhere. I got some questions laying around somewhere. I thought I did. All right. Well, I can't even ask you this question. Let me tell you why. I'll ask it to you, but I'll just give you the answers, obviously. The next question, number 8, would be, which girlfriend did Andy take to Raleigh? If you weren't paying attention, you may not get this one. Which girlfriend did Andy take to Raleigh? Yeah, the answer, I gave it to you on the previous question, was Peggy. All right, so how did you do? You should have at least got 2 because the previous questions gave you those answers. So we had 8 questions. You definitely should have got that last one. So how did you do? How did you do with the trivia? I hope you did good. Mainly, I hope you laughed and had a good time and thought about those episodes, and they brought them to your mind and just made it fun, because that's what it's all about, having a little bit of fun and a good time. All right, guys, that's all I got for that part. I do want to mention that this week coming up is the 12th annual Mayberry Meetup in Mount Airy, North Carolina. It comes up starting on Friday. Some of you guys are planning to be there, I know, and I will be there. We'll be rolling into town hopefully on Thursday, Jan and I, and we'll probably set up on Thursday night. I'll set up everything, make sure everything's working. Fingers crossed. So it depends on what's not working. If it's not working, I can't do anything about it. Like if the projector, I'll check it, but if it's not working, I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix that. I mean, I don't know. So we'll be rolling in. We'll set those up. So if you're in town on Thursday night, you could drop by, some point Thursday evening and visit with us for a while. We won't keep it up very long that night because we'll be going Thursday. We'll go in Friday and Saturday. We'll be doing the stuff in the evenings, starting around 6 o'clock, and we might gather there, but we can't start until 8:30, something like that, when it's dark. I'm not sure what time it gets dark. Whatever time's dark, because then you'll be able to see it. You can't really see it, but we got stuff planned for for Friday or Saturday afternoon. We'll start a little bit earlier. We'll get together and visit on Saturday. All that information is available out there for us if you go and look. Plus, I've emailed it out to everybody as well that signed up. So we'll start 5 to 7, something like that. People can go out and eat and do what they want to on Friday, and then from 7 whatever till dark till 11 something like that. We'll be doing episodes on Saturday. Basically, we'll get together starting around 6 o'clock, and you bring your own meal, bring your own picnic, and we'll do whatever we can pull off on Saturday. Hopefully, there's some reports of rain coming up, so you can do that. If you signed up and got the email from me, it had information about how to sign up to get text messages from me as events. If things change or if there's any issues or anything like that, I will text it to you. I will not likely respond if you start asking me what times things are. Okay. There's too many of you. I can't do that. I need you to look on the schedule I emailed you. Okay. I'll try to make sure people are aware of things, but I can't answer each individual. So keep that in mind as we go through the weekend. But I want you to have a good time. Come out and visit with us. Hopefully you will be a part of the meetup. But it's basically rain or shine. There's the mic right over there if you're wanting to talk. And you can gather in.
And not to be rude, but if you...
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Sorry.
What is it? Oh, turn it on. There you go.
And not to be rude, but if you text or message me and ask me, I'm going to have to pull up the thing just like you would.
Well, so will I.
Yeah, I know. So not trying to be rude, but just telling you. So,
Right.
Anyway.
So definitely make sure, try to look for yourself because, we can't keep up with it either. So I have to go and look and see what time everything is and when things start. So just sign up if you want to get the email that comes out. I'll send out an email to you. So look in your email for an email from me that's got that schedule and links to the schedule. There's actually a link to the schedule basically in our show notes as well. You can go to the show notes for the podcast and click on the link, and it'll take you to this page right here where it's a Facebook document that's got all the information on there, including the official design T-shirt and all that kind of good stuff. But it's got everything on there telling you things you can kind of go do. One thing I want to recommend, if you're coming, bring an FM radio. If you have one, bring an FM radio with batteries so that you can tune in the episodes, because we'll be broadcasting over an FM frequency so that you would be able to hear the episode that you're seeing on the screen. So you can basically sit anywhere there in the Mayberry Motor Inn area and still listen to the episode and see it from a distance if you'd like to. So that way you can be sure you get to hear everything. So bring you a lawn chair, just normal things you would bring to a picnic type area. Bring your lawn chair, a radio, things like that. Maybe bring an umbrella. I don't know. Hopefully it's not going to rain, but if it rains, hey, at least that'll keep you going. And we'll have a good time. And then Sunday morning, we'll do a Mayberry Bible study and then head out, and everybody can head home. And if you can stay on Sunday morning. All right, guys, that is all I have for us tonight to talk about. I hope I'll see some of you at the Mayberry Meetup. I'll try to go live. If you watch my Facebook page, mine, not the podcast page, you'd have to kind of follow me on Facebook, Alan Newsom. And then you'd be able to see the post I do. I'll try to share them to the podcast page as well, but I'll be posting them likely live from my page, my Facebook page, because that's just easier. All right, guys, I think that's all I've got. I hope to see you there. If I don't, we'll miss you. We shall meet, but we shall miss you. It should be a lot of fun. No matter rain or shine, we'll have a good time in Mount Airy, North Carolina. So, folks, I'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com or drop by over at twochairsnowaiting.com. All that information's there, and you can leave me a message. All right, guys, have a great Mayberry week, and we'll see you next time right here on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.